United States submarine base at Key West, Florida. A dispatch that quoted President Truman's press secretary, Charles Ross, as saying that President Truman has no knowledge of any secret project by this government that would give substance to the existence of such objects. Ross also said that both the Air Force and the Navy deny that such objects exist.
There it is.
Finally.
I have a gift for you. Maybe it'll make you feel better. This is one of my favorite videos.
A gift? Okay, let's do it. What was that? What was that?
My favorite fucking video. So the whole entire video is like this. I don't know if it's coworker, friend, relative, whatever. And he walks up to the guy in the car who's recording, and he's like, "I got you these balloons because you're gay. I got you these Skittles because of the rainbow." And then he was like, "And then look at this. I got you this cake." And he tilts it towards the screen. It's a cookie cake, and it says, "Be who you are for your pride." And for whatever reason, they both start singing it like, and then them singing it like, them singing it to me is the most amazing thing. Is like, because the guy who's receiving the cake catches on 2 words in. You know what I mean? So. Hold on. But then he holds it, so he comes in late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he holds it till the end. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, he co-signed at the end of it.
Yeah. And it is just music to my ear.
I'm glad that right before I hit record, a little behind the scenes, me and Noel were like, we have nothing to offer. And I'm glad you just proved that for the first 2 seconds.
I had something to offer.
Oh, no, it was actually great.
Because that's all I've been thinking about. Also, because
your
the guy
pride.
singing sounds like Gay Ty, my other Ty.
Yeah.
And he'll do the same thing. He'll be like, "Thank you," but like really bad. Like that's the whole point of it. And so when I heard that, like, "Be who you are," I was like, "Holy shit! It's second time. It's second time." So anyway, happy Pride.
Yeah, happy Pride. You got COVID at Pride. I love that for you.
Yep. A little homophobic of them, if I will say. A little
bit,
fucking
yeah.
homophobic of them. Hey,
yeah,
what's up? My name's Noelle, and before Chelsea introduces herself, I know that we were happy for a second. I want to bring us down again.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Pride, where the Republican Party has blamed transgender people and drag performances for the atrocities in this country, and not the fact that you can get a semi-automatic assault rifle and fucking mow down school children. But, you know, great job, Texas. You really got it together.
Man. And woman. And they, them. It is Pride. We'll include all 3. Yeah. Very depressing. I'm Chelsea. And I am that kid at drag shows. So, eating it up. I do want to pull a statistic out, and feel free to fact check me on it. You're more in danger of being sexually assaulted by going to church than you are going to a drag show, because currently the statistics on children being assaulted at drag shows is 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It'd be like that though sometimes.
Then the other thing is, like, if Texas wants to come out and say, like, because they're like, children need to be children in a place where they can be children, and they're like, not, so don't go to drag shows, which is funny because I think children should also be children inside of school and not have to worry about being fucking murdered. But, like, you know, whatever. Great job, Texas. But
yeah.
If they want to go with that, then, like, okay, then children can't go to Hooters, and you guys need to make your weird little beauty pageants for babies illegal, you fucking assholes.
Yeah, if you want to be about it, we'll play ball.
Yeah.
I'll play ball, that's fine.
Yeah. I'll say no kids in drag shows, and then that also means no kids at Hooters, and abolish little baby pageants and the pageants that they do in the South where they make 6-year-olds look like 35-year-old prostitutes.
Yeah, kids can't go to church anymore.
Yeah. But baby, you know I've been saying that from the jump.
We'll play. So, we'll play ball.
Yeah.
So this week we were supposed to be doing, last week we were supposed to be doing part 2 of our televangelist. Fuck me.
I mean, they're one and the same.
The televangelist.
Evangelicals are
but
televangelists.
I was elbow deep in COVID, and as I come out of the haze, Noelle has decided to dive into COVID.
Yeah.
Or I'm at the tail end of it, and you're just right at the beginning.
Yeah, let me give everyone a preview of Patreon content for those of you who are not paying the $1 to listen to our extra episodes. I'll give them the sentence that I gave Patreon.
Yeah.
When Chelsea got COVID, we took the week off. But because I wear the weight of the working class on my back, we work through my COVID experience. So you're welcome.
But you only decided that you had COVID yesterday. When we took that Thursday off, that was when I was right in the thick of it, man.
Mm-hmm.
But I do appreciate your strength in just taking an allergy pill and powering through this episode.
God, I can't even take it. I can't even take it.
Yeah, you can't. That's right. You can't take it.
Tomorrow to take it again.
You could take a Benadryl with that, though. You're just going to be like double tired.
I don't think I have a Benadryl, honestly.
Well, I don't know what to tell you then. So this week is going to be an intermission week.
Yeah.
We're still planning on finishing the televangelist episodes, but there are some heroes that come out of that. And if we were just talking about the villains of making money off of people, then we would just slap it together. That's fine. But specifically with Pride, the heroes that come out, we wanted to praise them with our chests. So we're going to do a little bit of an intermission, and we're going to talk about Bigfoot and Yetis.
Okay.
So some minor housekeeping to get out of the way. So when I think of Bigfoot / Sasquatch, I think those are one and the same. And when I think Yeti / abominable snowman, I think those are one and the same.
I would agree.
You agree on that so far?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. When I think about the differences between the two, I don't think of them as necessarily a difference in species, only a difference in geography and color, being that...
I agree with that as well.
Okay. So
brown versus
white. Yeah. So like we have Bigfoot, which is North America. That's our brown variety. Whereas you have the Yeti / abominable snowman, which is white, hangs around the Himalayas.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
I agree. There's no gotcha here. I did try to look up if there were fundamental differences between the two, and pretty much everything said that they're basically the same, but there is a very small sect that we're not going to talk about except for this very brief sentence, where if we were talking about Bigfoot / Sasquatch, most people agree that that could be like the missing link, human ape hybrid, very close description.
Yeah.
There are some people saying that the Yeti abominable snowman cannot be an ape / like chimp, gorilla, Australopithecus variety, that it has to be more closely related to the bear, just based on tracking the historical record of animals in that area, which I thought was really interesting. I don't think it's a bear, but I do find it cool that people would think that it would be more bear man than ape man.
I think that's a little silly. I don't know. Not good for them. I love creativity. But I guess I just haven't seen any depictions of a Yeti that didn't also scream ape to me. Do you know what I'm
agree.
saying?
Yeah.
I've never seen a depiction that looks like a bear.
Well, even the depictions of them, they're like, don't get it confused. You see because you're a simple-minded, stupid human, you see a hairy man and you just think it crosses with an ape. You don't think that could also be a cross with a bear.
Yeah, that's fair.
It is fair, but I don't like people coming for me that hard, and I don't get bear. It's not reading bear, mama.
Yeah, it's not giving boots to the house bear. So no. I agree.
Good. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah, just looked up a picture of like the abominable snowman. I mean, this is the problem. You know what? This is the problem. When you're looking at Hollywood depictions, I could see it giving more bear. But if you look at Britannica.com, it's giving very much ape with white hair.
Yeah.
Same with history.co.uk, ape with white hair. Same with monster.fandom.com, ape with white hair. But then when you look at Hollywood depictions and movies, or Claymation Christmas, it's giving a little bear. So once again, Hollywood ruining everything.
Yeah.
I would say.
If I had to accept a Hollywood depiction of a Yeti, it would be the Wampa in Star Wars, just because it's cute.
Yeah, that's
So-
fair.
But again, that doesn't even. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, does that even read ape because it has like the tusks?
Wampa doesn't. I was just gonna let you have that. I think that was a real
But if
pocket card pull.
yeah, but that's like normally what if I were to think like that, I'd be like, oh hell yeah, like a Wampa, right? But now that I'm even thinking about it even further, I'm calling myself out. The Wampa doesn't even look like a mix of an ape. What is it a mix of? It has like the tusks and its adorable furry fucking face.
What does that look like? I think it looks more like
Like a furry walrus.
well, to me, the Wampa is more of Chewie if Chewie got left in Antarctica for multiple generations and had to evolve.
You know, speaking of Star Wars and Chewie, I've been on such a deep dive of like Star Wars Sith lore lately, where I've been listening to these like 4-hour breakdowns of like Darth Bane. And not the Darth Bane rule of two, which is like what Darth Bane would be famous for, but like Darth Bane in the sense of how he chose to study the dark side of the Force.
Darth
and how
Bane
that
rule two is in there can't be two like Sith lords at the same time.
a master and apprentice, no more than that. Because in the beginning there was like a whole Sith army, and then Darth Bane was like, "This is why we keep fucking losing to the Jedi." And then Darth Bane did the rule of two, which that's the fun part of Darth Bane. But I've been doing the deep dives where it talks about his character arc before he became a Sith, and I'm just like, fascinating. He killed his own dad. You know that? They
have to.
Well, this was before he was a Sith. This was before he even, because like so he was born maybe like I want to say like 3,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, and his dad was kind of an asshole. So he one night sat up thinking about a big invisible hand squeezing his dad's heart, and then he woke up the next day and his dad had a heart attack, but he didn't realize until like decades later that he fucking caused that with the Force. Isn't that interesting?
He had Force choked his heart.
And then for the Sith, you have to kill your master. And for Bane, he was going to take out his lightsaber master, but he knew he couldn't best him in one-on-one lightsaber combat, so he used the Force to collapse the ceiling on him, and then that's how he overtook the master, which begs the question, does that fucking count?
Because all he did was...
We just squished him.
Yeah, I think it counts.
Yeah, he brought a ceiling to a lightsaber fight.
I mean, yeah, but it was still using the Force to collapse the ceilings.
Yeah, I agree with that. That wasn't a gotcha either. And then I also was looking at the lightsaber fight style breakdown for Duel of the Fates, but only at the end part with Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan. So Darth Maul.
Are you on the camp that Darth Maul, the Sith, won the Duel of Fates? Because I agree. The Sith won the Duel of Fates.
What do you mean? In the sense that he killed Qui-Gon and then lived?
Yes, and that it like changed the trajectory of what the Jedi would do and what was to come for them, and kind of like the
The Sith won, yes. No. The Sith won I don't know if you put the Duel of the Fates with Maul, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan. That was the battle. I think the Jedi won that battle, but I think in the overall war, they definitely lost. I would agree with that. Duel of the Fates, though, I got to give that a W to Obi-Wan, because he came out in the end, and then when he met Maul years later, won again.
What? But what is the point of the Duel of Fates if not to kill Qui-Gon and then also turn Anakin?
No, no, no,
And
no. The Duel
also,
of the Fates was not to turn Anakin
you don't
because it.
think the Duel of the Fates was a fight for Anakin, like what he was going to become?
I don't know, because this is where we're getting into like what would have happened if Qui-Gon would have lived, right? Because Qui-Gon, whenever people say gray Jedi, they are inherently wrong. If you wanted to describe a gray Jedi, I think the closest you would ever get to it is Qui-Gon. In the
Qui-Gon,
sense,
because he saw the failure of the Jedi, period.
yeah. But I will also say that Qui-Gon mentoring Anakin, I don't necessarily. This would be a really good what if episode, right? If Qui-Gon actually was able to take Padawan Anakin and then come to fruition all the way through from Padawan to Jedi Knight, I still am unsure. I still think the trajectory of Anakin becoming Darth Maul was going to happen anyway. I think that egg was in that basket. I'm sorry, Darth Vader. I think that egg was in that basket anyway.
Sure.
But
I don't know. That's the question, right? That's a chicken or the egg question. Because in my eyes, I agree. I think Qui-Gon is the best example of a gray Jedi because he was the first to call out the failure of the Jedi. Yeah. I think that would have been the greatest teacher for Anakin had Qui-Gon not died, had Maul not interjected. I think, and if we would have seen that play out, it would have been I think we would have gotten a Luke Skywalker-esque version of Anakin in the sense of like, I understand both negatives and positives. I walk in the middle and I dip my toes on both sides of light and dark because I understand the power of both and the need, if we're going to play this game of Jedi and Sith and using the Force and midichlorian and whatever, that I have to be the most well-balanced. It's the yin and the yang. I have to have both dark and light within me versus the absolutist Jedi position that would be the only way to beat the Sith is to not be a Jedi, is to disintegrate both because one can't.
But I mean, that also like goes into like exactly where. Because there were other Jedi who were similar to what Qui-Gon did, but just in different facets. Like, Mace Windu used a traditionally dark side technique when it came to how he used his lightsaber. But does that mean that, like, Mace Windu's a gray Jedi now? But I will say that at the beginning of the Duel of Fates, we should have this discussion, but I do want to circle around to the lightsaber techniques. At the beginning of the Duel of Fates, the way that Darth Maul fights and the very nature of having a dual-sided lightsaber is so that you can fight offensively. There's nothing really defensive about that. It's a continuous onslaught. Yeah. At the beginning of Duel of Fates, it was very attack and defend. After Qui-Gon died, that's where Obi-Wan switched from defensive to offensive techniques, and that's why he was able to defeat Darth Maul. Yeah. So I would almost say, too, that I don't know if they would have been successful in Duel of Fates had Qui-Gon not died, because I don't know if they would have actually switched their offensive style of fighting. Yeah. And I want to hope for the best when it comes to Qui-Gon, because he was very smart, but he was also very set in his ways. And even if his ways were kind of like tangent, because there's so much to fucking Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, man, because Obi-Wan didn't have a master when he was, like, you're supposed to get assigned a master as a Padawan fairly early. Otherwise, you go to work as, like, a temple guard or you go to work in the fucking libraries. And nobody would take Obi-Wan on. He was actually quite old and he hadn't had a Jedi master yet. And that's how he kind of got into Yoda's radar, because he was just like, fuck it, man, I'm just going to try to be like absorb as much Jedi knowledge as I can before I'm cut off from that, because you have to be a Jedi master in order to get, or Jedi Knight in order to get to certain areas of the library. And he's like, as a fucking student, I'm going to see what I can get my hands on. Qui-Gon, meanwhile, was studying ways of becoming a Force ghost, and that's how their paths kind of crossed. And then, you know, that stuff's just really fucking fascinating. I know we're supposed to be talking about Bigfoot right now.
I know that we're supposed to be talking about Bigfoot, but I mean, and I guess the whole conversation is like, what even constitutes a gray Jedi? You know what I mean? Is it following the Jedi code?
Yeah.
Is it following the Jedi Order
There's-
as well? And if the Jedi is acknowledging the Jedi Order's downfall, does that even still consider you a gray Jedi, or does that make you the most straightforward, to the core Jedi?
Here's what I know about people who say that they're like a gray Jedi. Like if I was like, Noel, would you be a Jedi or a Sith? You'd be like, I'll be a Sith, baby, rock and roll. If you asked me, I'd be like, yeah, a Jedi, walk that line. I try to be good. If somebody goes, I'm a gray Jedi, I think they're a piece of shit. I think they're a son of a bitch. There's no such fucking thing as a gray Jedi. I know that there's like people who like to think that there's a gray Jedi and they have their creed that someone wrote on the internet. It drives me nuts. There's no such thing as a gray Jedi. You just can't fucking be it.
I mean,
it's an anomaly.
I mean, yes, I think, but like saying that you are is like it
gives pick me. It gives, and it's pretentious.
But I think if we were to like be realistic, the best Jedis are technically what you would call gray Jedis.
But they're still Jedi.
But they understand the absolutist position of the Jedi code and the Jedi.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
It has its failures. What do you think the Jedi Order and the Jedi code is?
I agree.
It's absolutes.
I agree, but there's no fucking such thing as
away from it always. And so therefore they're not even a full Jedi, you would consider.
No. You are a fucking Jedi. Even if you go against like what traditional Jedi ethics are in terms of what the Jedi Council depicts, if you are following of the Force and you are practicing it you're still a fucking Jedi. There's no way to you can't not be a Jedi. It's just like the same way if I'm like, hey, Noelle, I am a girl, I am a female, but you know what? Because I want to wear pants today, I am a man. It's like, that's not, the pants don't make the man. I'm already a fucking girl. That's the same thing with like a Jedi. You know what I mean?
You're giving the answer right now because gender is binary.
I know, that was such a bad example.
So is being an absolutist Jedi.
What I'm saying is, clothes do not necessarily make the gender. I don't know, man. That was a bad example, but it's also just being like, I'm a priest and I'm atheist. It's like, are you an atheist priest? You can't be like an atheist God lover. You know what I mean?
In it, you found the answer, which is fluidity.
Shut up. But it's like someone saying like, no, I believe in God as an atheist. Like, that's not how it fucking works. You either believe in God or you're an atheist. You're one or the other. You know?
Sure.
And then for someone to be like, well, I'm agnostic. It's like, oh, go fuck yourself. That's how I feel. Take the gender. That's a better example. You can't be like, yeah, I believe in God as an atheist. That's the same as someone saying they're a gray Jedi.
Unless they were to say, like, I believe that God isn't like this all masterful creator man who created us, but an unknown being that created the earth and everything in it. It's not technically God, but it's something. And
that doesn't make you an atheist, though.
Technically, it would still make you an atheist because you don't believe in a Christian God.
No.
Yeah. So I feel like that's more what it is. I don't know.
I will die on this hill. There's no fucking such thing as a great Jedi. You are either a Jedi or you're a Sith or you're nothing.
It's a conundrum in itself. If only the Sith deals in absolutes, then why is it just black and white and not a little bit of gray?
Well, you're trying to talk now about like the way that you use the Force. The way that you use the Force can be a million different ways. We have Raven, who went from being Sith, Jedi, Sith, Jedi, Sith, Jedi, Sith, Jedi. He did bounce back and forth. But at no point was there like a transitional period where he was like, oh, I'm a gray Jedi for these 2 weeks while I fucking figure it out. It's like, no, you're either one or the other, or you're nothing.
Well,
you're either a Jedi.
He's a black and white example. I think there's people who learn from faulting on both lines. I think the most...
Well, then you're thinking of Force-sensitive people who don't follow Sith or Jedi, in which case they are neither.
No. Not sensitive people. Not like fucking
But still,
Leia.
Even Luke in Dark Empire, Luke went and he studied Sith lore. That didn't make him a Sith just because he was looking into the dark side of the Force. He was still a Jedi who just happened to be looking at Sith. You have to be one or the fucking other. You're going to make me actually mad. I'm sweating. Like, look at the sweat stains on my fat rolls on my shirt. Oh my God, I'm so hot. You're making me go through menopause, Noelle. I had to stand up.
Don't go through menopause.
We should probably move on and talk about Bigfoot. Okay, we should have a debate, though, about whether or not gray Jedi are real, and then submit that as a Comic-Con panel, because I guarantee you I will stand up and I will yell, there's no such fucking thing as gray Jedi! You're one or the other, or you're nothing.
No. That's very absolutist of you.
I'm just going to say, though, that you're like full on embarrassing yourself right now if you
You're
are
embarrassing
tying into the
yourself.
credo of gray Jedi. That's embarrassing.
I don't like the term gray Jedi. I just think that the best Jedis out there aren't Jedis and they're not Sith either. They're a little bit of both.
So, like, that's like Ahsoka Tano. She
Exactly.
stops being a Jedi, but then she's neither. That doesn't make her a gray Jedi because she doesn't follow either.
I think that's the problem. You're getting hung up on the term gray Jedi. I think that there's a middle. I think that
There is a middle, but there is a middle where you can take facets from both. I will agree with you.
Yeah.
There is no such fucking thing as a gray Jedi.
Well, sure. That's
Okay.
it, period.
Because Mace Windu uses Sith techniques to fight, and you can see that in the way that he fights. And there are very different forms, like technically a force push is something that you could argue is more of a Sith technique, right? Force lightning is another example. Even fucking Yoda can use it. Yeah. There are elements of power that fall within the parameters of what we would consider the dark side of the Force, but just by merely harnessing it or looking into it does not make a gray Jedi. You're either a Jedi or a Sith. There's no such thing as gray Jedi, or you're neither, like Ahsoka, who's like, nope, I don't subscribe to what the Jedi say. That's fine, then she's neither. She's neither Sith nor Jedi. That doesn't automatically make her a gray Jedi because she's this cool person in the middle. That doesn't fucking exist.
Yeah, I think you're getting hung up on the term gray Jedi.
No, you're getting hung up on the term gray Jedi.
I don't give a fuck about the term. I'm saying that the best fighters and the best people, best users of the Force are in the middle.
My heart rate jumped to 96.
Call it what you want.
Actually, no. I would, if we want to really have a discussion, I would say that the best fighters are absolutely one or the other, and they're not neither. And we could 100% go into it.
They're a little bit of both.
I don't know, because I would say that like Darth Plagueis is probably one of the most successful Sith in the sense that he took down the Jedi and he did not use a single light side of the Force, and he took out the entire side of the Jedi. He was not in the middle. And then you have Yoda, who's like the personification of like everything good in the Force. You know what I mean?
Good and passive.
Well, give me a good example of somebody who identifies in the middle other than Ahsoka Tano.
Well, besides, I would say you could say that Luke identifies in the middle because he uses
Luke identifies as a Jedi.
Well, he identifies as a Jedi, but I'm going to say that he uses both. I would also say if we're talking like cinematic, you have Ben and Rey using both, and then we could also even pretend maybe.
But using both, you're still either a Jedi or a Sith.
Using both at the same time.
It's like a belief system and a set of protocol.
Even in Mace Windu, you know what I mean? Like being a Jedi but using Sith style.
That's what I'm saying. That's fucking fine, but people who say that makes a gray Jedi are fundamentally wrong. I'm not saying that being a Jedi prohibits you from looking in or using dark sides of the Force. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that people who say gray Jedi is a thing are fundamentally wrong. That doesn't fucking exist. Yeah, it's the equivalent of saying you are an atheist who believes in God. It doesn't fucking exist. Don't exist.
Black and white.
You can say I'm black and white if I say that gray Jedi don't exist, and I will die on that hill.
I mean, sure.
All right, it's been 45 minutes, so let's get back to Yetis. Oh my god.
Finish it.
This all started because you said that the Wampa kind of looks like Chewie, but it all started because I said the Wampa looks like the Abominable Snowman, so we're all guilty today. Anyway, this is supposed to be a fast episode so that we could take NyQuil and go to bed.
Yeah, straight up. Jesus.
So, similar to American versus world history, the Yeti has way more tied into it than our precious Bigfoot does. And in fact, even Alexander the Great mentions coming across an army of Yeti all the way back in 326 BC. So from UFOinsight.com, quote, "It was during his invasion of India, while documenting a journey to the Indus River, the ancient writings, which was in the Anabasis Alexandri, Book 8 by Arrian, speaks of a battle with hairy men in a region called Tomarus. These natives were Tomarus.
Also hairy men. They're just like, it
was just Oliver.
Italians.
Yeah. They're like, get out of the region. So these natives were first noticed along the bank of the water, living in stifling cabins. And it was noted that they were hairy, not only on their heads, but the rest of their bodies. Furthermore, they had nails rather like beast's claws, and it was noted that they wore skins of animals for clothing. And following the battle, Alexander the Great demanded to meet these Yeti as the ones who didn't die when they fled from the hills all were dead in battle. So essentially, he just wanted to meet a living one. And according to National Geographic, the local people told him that they were unable to present one to him because the creatures could not survive at low altitudes. In another set of writings from a Roman author and rhetoric teacher named Claudius A, we'll just say that, in the book De Natura Animalium, he makes mention of what we would commonly refer to in mythology as a satyr. But upon closer reading, it seems to be that the beings he described resemble Yetis or Bigfoot. He mentions their diet of tree sprouts and their proclivity for staying in woodland areas, and how they I made a typo and it broke my brain. This is COVID brain. I can't even skip over it. And how they fled with incredible speed to high mountain caves when threatened. When humans approach them too closely, they repel humans by hurling stones down at them. And it is this rock-throwing information that we really want to focus on here.
All of my neighbors.
Yeah. Just like Donkey Kong throwing like barrels and like...
Yeah. Watching them jump over him downstairs.
Yeah. So rock throwing is like important here because that is a very traditional part of both Yeti and Bigfoot information. 99% of the time when people have an interaction with Bigfoot or a Yeti, it does involve them throwing rocks, or it involves them coming across like rock formations in the form of like a cairn where they just like stack a bunch of rocks, or like arches of rocks in certain areas where it's like obviously they had to have been put there. And it's not like a high traffic area where humans normally are. So that's where it like tends to lead a lot into Bigfoot lore.
Also, could you imagine like coming across a Bigfoot or a Yeti and you're like, holy shit. And then you're just getting like pebbles thrown at you. You're like, what the fuck, man?
Like a little Dennis the Menace with a slingshot, but it's just like a little Yeti baby.
Yeah, and he's just through a brush that you can clearly see him in.
Yeah.
And you're like, I fucking see you. What the fuck? And then he's just like, ping, dink, ping. And you're like, stop fucking throwing rocks at me.
Just like hurt your feelings.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. It just hurts you.
It hurts here. It hurts in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would love that. I just need something remarkable to happen to me. I did have someone slide into my DMs and was really inappropriate other than Brandenburg. And I was
what
like,
did they say? Read it. Open it. We deserve it. Say it out loud.
It's not even that good. So remember how oh my God, let me find it.
What do you mean it's not that good?
I just expected so much more. Like I have such high standards now that,
you wanted a dick pic, or you're just saying you expected?
Well, it's now that like Brandenburg sent us the bomb threats. Now, when I get like inappropriate messages from men on the internet, I'm like,
yeah, this doesn't hit the same.
It never hit. You never get over your first love, you know. I wasn't expecting a boner, but here we are.
Can I see his face?
I mean, yeah.
Let me see.
Oh, I don't follow him back. That's this tiny little.
You should follow him back. That's a familiar name.
Maybe they listen to the podcast.
Oh my God, I actually think.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm so fucking sweaty. For those of you who are on Patreon.
Now, for sure, if you keep talking about how sweaty you are.
Oh my God. For those of you who are on Patreon, one of my weird symptoms from COVID is I am just raining sweat and I don't know what to do because I'm not normally a sweaty person.
What did you post that made him get a boner?
My fitting for my Sailor Venus cosplay.
Oh, typical.
Mm-hmm.
Typical.
Yeah. So anyway, according to beefro.net, which I personally like, Beefro, it's a Bigfoot researchers organization. They say that Bigfoot also use rocks to communicate. And I like to say, what a better way to communicate to someone by throwing a rock at their fucking head. Am I right? Am I right? So, quote from Beefro, pattern repetitive knocking sounds produced with rocks or thick branches hit against other rocks or dead trees are apparently used as long-distance communication or deterrence. They go on to say that they use branches and rocks to hit trees or other rocks, and they throw rocks and other objects out of hiding to scare people out of their territory, as do chimpanzees.
I get it.
I would rather come across a chimp. No, I'd rather come across a Bigfoot than a chimpanzee. I hate chimpanzees.
Yeah, chimpanzees are going to rip your fucking face off.
I saw one Reddit clip where like a chimpanzee pulled a guy's shirt and then like they were trying to like pull him away like as the chimpanzee was pulling.
That was an orangutan. I watched.
Well, I don't fucking like those either. My God, the sweat. I'm getting like out of breath from COVID, man. I feel like I'm all like lightheaded. I have to stand up and get a breath. Okay, sorry.
You are a disaster.
I'm losing it, man. You got me all fucking angry about the gray Jedi nonsense, and now my heart rate's all up, and I'm all sweaty, and I'm like getting spots in my vision because this is the most I've communicated in days, and I'm just running out of oxygen.
Yeah, trust me, I can't breathe out my nose, bitch. The fuck.
So now the sightings of Yeti and sightings of Bigfoot are all relatively similar. People in mountainous regions stumble across cryptids who disappear before anyone can really get their bearings or truly document the evidence. And this was especially true in the 1950s, where the ability to document such sightings was inhibited by the technology at the time. Maya Bakova, a prolific cryptic researcher who died in the 90s, rest in peace, often put herself in positions to encounter the mysterious Yeti and hope to better understand the paranormal element surrounding its existence. She believed that in addition to what we already know about Yetis physically, they also had the predator-like ability to go invisible against their surroundings. And here, Noelle, is where we get into the debate of what really is the Yeti, a cryptid, an alien, or something else. Noelle, which camp of belief do you fall into? And then I put here in the notes, insert organic and non-scripted discussion here.
You did put that. I think that a Yeti is I'm in between cryptid and something else because I classify a Yeti the same as I classify a Bigfoot, and there's a part of me that just thinks it could be like another evolution of ape, not necessarily missing link, not that, but like maybe just, a small subset of apes got stuck in a specific region and evolved and adapted. Kind of like The Descent, but if The Descent was about ape monsters.
Right.
In caves, you know what I mean?
I want to say that used to be like the very similar camp that I was in. I think that it's fun to assign the missing link to Bigfoot or to a Yeti in a tangential way.
I don't want it to be the missing link.
But I mean in a tangential way, in the sense that we could share an ancestor, and all we're seeing is how we could have evolved, right?
I mean, I guess. Have you seen the crawdads that get stuck in caves in the south and they are blind and deaf and translucent?
Yeah.
Because they live in the dark?
Yeah.
Like, that's the Yeti to me.
Yeah. I used to be in that camp where it was just we're seeing a product of evolution. I think it wasn't until I really started subscribing to the missing 411 phenomenon where I was like, fuck dude, what if it's like something else? Hold on, I'm gonna cough.
Yeti and a big okay. Oh my god, mute it, bitch. Jesus. Well, I know she could still hear me, so she's turning bright red.
Oh my god.
Jesus, take a sip of something.
I did. I have fucking Gatorade, man. So of the missing 411 phenomenon.
Oh, but I was going to say, so you are now thinking that Bigfoot and the Yeti are interdimensional time travelers?
Or of the alien variety.
Oh my god.
Yeah. A little bit more with Bigfoot than the Yeti, and I know that there's like a fundamental and tangential difference. But when you look into the missing 411 stuff, where a lot of that stuff does seem to be interdimensional phenomenon, and I point out there was a little 3-year-old boy who just went missing.
Oh my god, have you seen the before and afters?
He doesn't even look the same, man. That's what I'm telling you.
What the fuck did
that is the face of a little boy who just went through some interdimensional bullshit.
Yeah, he
missing 411 style.
Eyelids anymore. That kid's fucked up. Glad he's safe, but
yeah.
Jesus Christ, get that kid into therapy.
If Yeti were a cryptid, I want it to be a cryptid, which is fun. But I think that when we get into this kind of stuff, I do believe that they are one and the same. That little boy, 100% missing 411, found in an area that was already searched. He shouldn't have fucking survived that as a 3-year-old either. Disappeared for 2 seconds while his dad was like right there. It fits all the different parameters, and then all of a sudden he pops up, and he almost doesn't look like the same little boy anymore. He looks like a fucking changeling.
Yeah,
like his eyes got closer together.
Yeah, he does not look the same.
No,
it's scary.
Because I looked at the before picture and he just looks like a normal kid, and then I look at the after picture and he looks like a drawing that someone did of a different kid.
Yeah, that kid looks
So
fucked up. He looks
that's all I'm saying.
terrified.
Yeah, is interdimensional. That has interdimensional nonsense written all over it. And I think that I think no matter what you believe, you're not wrong, I'll dare say. So long as you believe in Bigfoot and Yetis for the love of the game. And we could discuss the nature of Bigfoot, but, we're going to move on because we've got some NyQuil to take.
Yeah, please.
But what we are going to do before we wrap up is we are going to travel back in time to a New York Times article from 1974 called "It's Hard to Prove That Something, Even a Monster, Doesn't Exist." And this article actually takes us further back in time to 1924. So here's that story. We are quoting the New York Times now. The year was 1924, and the place, according to now legendary story, was Toba Inlet, located on the coast of British Columbia opposite Vancouver Island. For 3 mornings in a row, Albert Osman, a lumberman on a vacation camping trip, had awakened to find that his campsite had been disturbed by a nocturnal visitor from the woods. Now, as night fell on the 4th evening, he crawled into his sleeping bag, fully clothed, intending to feign sleep and surprise the animal that had come to rummage through his knapsack and make off with his food. But after a few hours, sleep overcame him. He was awakened by something picking him up, he related later. He felt as if he were being tossed on horseback, but he could feel that whatever had picked him up, sleeping bag, knapsack, and all, was walking upright. After a lengthy, uncomfortable journey, he was dumped roughly on the ground, and he emerged from the sleeping bag to face 4 immense, hairy, ape-like creatures.
Italian
and a parent
man.
family. Yeah, he's like, I cook a meatball for you. Real low-hanging fruit that I'm going for today.
We have to. We have
Yeah.
to. That's all we have. That's all I can grab.
Yeah, so it's all I could reach from lying prone in bed. And 2 of them were obviously male, the father and son, and 2 were obviously female, mother and daughter.
How was that obvious to them?
I'm going to guess boobs.
Why was he looking at the children's boobs?
You want to know what? Because every, what I assume, lumberjack Republican, probably a pedophile.
True, valid.
Our lawyer is telling us that is conjecture and can't apply to everybody.
Might be a joke, but we don't know. I can't say.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yep, exactly.
And Osman remained a captive of the creatures for about a week in the small valley they called their home, apparently serving as a source of amusement for them, eating food from his knapsack and watching for a chance to escape. His opportunity finally came one morning when the father of the family grabbed Osman's snuff box, swallowed its contents, and grew violently ill.
Oh my god.
In the moments of panic and confusion that followed, Osman dashed off into the woods. When he finally reached civilization, he decided to keep the story of his strange encounter to himself, for fear nobody would believe him. But in 1957, 30 years later, at a time when sightings of similar ape-like creatures had been reported in the Pacific Northwest, Albert Osman began to tell his story to friends and relatives, and it eventually found its way into the popular press. So in the end, the problem of Sasquatch reflects the much larger problem of how intelligent man must deal with the unexplained. Proving that something doesn't exist is extremely difficult, if not logically impossible. But as Sherlock Holmes put it, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Even if none of the hundreds of sightings ever occurred, we would still be forced to conclude that a giant bipedal primate does indeed inhabit the forest of the Pacific Northwest.
Fun.
The end.
I also like the idea of being kidnapped by a Sasquatch, and it's just like an episode of the dinosaurs.
Right?
Remember that? Do you remember
Yes,
that?
and then they
Animatronics?
fucking die in the last episode.
They die in the last episode?
Yeah, dude, the fucking meteor comes down. How do you think the dinosaurs died? They were in their little cave, and the newscasters are like, it's the end of the world, and they're all freaking out, and they hug each other, and in their last moments, the meteor comes and kills them all.
Are you fucking lying to me?
I swear to God, I'm 100%. I would not gray Jedi you on this. I'm being 100% truthful.
Oh my god. Why would they do that?
Dude, because nobody wants us to be happy, Noelle.
Why would
the
they do
listen
that?
to this. In the show's final episode, Earl inadvertently causes the extinction of all dinosaurs when, at the prodding of Richfield and the We Say So Corporation, he poisons all plant life. In an effort to bring plants back, he blocks the sun from the planet and says global temperatures below freezing, and then they die. So they suffer before they die, and then the meteor comes down.
Not only did the dinosaurs die in the show, but they died from man-made global warming.
Yeah. Well, no, they suffer. They don't die from global warming. They suffer immensely at the hands of global warming. And then by the time that they've accepted their fate, or by the time before hope can foster, I guess you could say, then the meteor comes and they all fucking die. They all die in the last episode, though.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Okay.
Yeah, dude, watch the ending.
I don't want to. Have you seen, I don't know if it's real or not, but have you seen the last cartoon strip of Garfield?
No. What is it?
Google it.
The last cartoon strip of Garfield.
Do you see it? It's 3 slides.
No, I just saw a text. I just got a text describing it. It says,
Click that giant link I sent in Zoom.
the very last comic was on June 25th. The banner art usually seen in Sunday comics. At the top is a series of images of Garfield walking with a gloomy expression, with each image becoming more and more transparent from left to right. And the Garfield text doesn't appear. Let me see what you sent me. Oh my god. That is a fucking wall of link. Where he just stops fucking sleeping?
Yeah.
Dude, fuck you, Noel.
Yeah.
What is this?
It shows him in like his little box with his blanket, and it's like ZZ for sleeping, snoring, and the first and second, and the last slide is just him. Isn't that horrible?
I'm fucking done with today. I'm done with this whole week. I've got sweat building in my fat rolls, making my shirt gross.
Just tell me that they died at the end of the dinosaur.
Well, you fucking you got me back with Garfield, damn it! I'd already accepted the fate of the dinosaurs.
I haven't. I never will.
Well,
oh man. Anyway, speaking of terrible things,
this was the worst.
There are some not terrible things you can do, like subscribe to our Patreon for $1, where you get new episodes every week. Really fun, exciting, energetic episode this week. You can find the link in any of our bios. Ours personally, I'm at Noelle Fain. That is at Sithlard. That Chelsea is at Sithlard. And we are at Go to Hell Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. But in that Linktree bio, you can, of course, subscribe to Patreon. You can find pro-choice resources. You can get our merch. We, as always, are still having the Protect Trans Kids campaign. This isn't just a thing in June for us to do. This is all year long. This is never ending. You can find a link to Kelly Holloran or at Wildwood Owls stickers on Etsy. You can find our Discord server, Facebook group, and I don't know how this is always brought up, but whatever, links to listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, even though that shouldn't be a problem since you're listening to us now. And yeah, that's it. So sorry you guys had to listen to how fucking terrible I can hear and feel how stuffed up I am.
I felt like I was both speaking through water and that I was listening to you talk to me through water. So I've definitely got something going on too.
Yeah, there's something. We've got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't get to hear the rant on Patreon, even though you should for $1. It doesn't matter that it's June 9th, 2022. If you don't feel well, get tested for COVID. If it's just a headache and a body ache, get tested for COVID. Find free testing centers near you, or you can order a $9 test on Amazon. Find them at Walgreens and or CVS near you. There are a lot of local and government programs still offering to send you test kits at home. And if you're waiting for one to get to you in a day, stay inside and quarantine and isolate until you can test and know for sure. Don't fuck around. Keep the fucking energy. I know it's exhausting, but keep the fucking energy.
Yeah.
Okay? Period. I guess we can get the fuck out of here now. Hail Satan.
Hailed Noel's mom, who actually sent me a get well soon message on Facebook.
Did she also tell you not to go to roller derby?
She didn't.
Wow.
She said but she did say give yourself time.
That is coming
feel better.
because I said, oh, 'cause she was all getting on my ass because she heard me huffing and puffing for breath. And I was like, you want to hear what's funny? Chelsea thinks she's going to go play roller derby like over the weekend. And
I will say, though, I'm out when I'm in Bozeman playing roller derby, I will be masked up and I will be outside the CDC guidelines. Or within the CDC guidelines of not being infectious.
Following the CDC guidelines doesn't mean that it's what's best for your body.
Yeah, I know. I'm ready to fucking pass out. I'm like breathless dude, I'm like fucking out of breath right now. Look at me. I'm like fully standing up because I'm not getting enough breath into my lungs by sitting down.
Not even go. It's a waste.
Oh. Alright, well.
Yeah. Hear that. Everyone hold her accountable to that. Everyone bully Chelsea and tell her not to fucking go. Just because the CDC says you're alright doesn't mean you are, bitch. Walk up the stairs and tell me you can play roller derby, you dumb hoe.
If you do it not in private. Do it on public forums so all my teammates can see it.
Yeah, good. I'll tell them myself.
Do it. I'm not even scared. Fucking do it. All I want is more chaos that you've brought into my life.
Okay, bye.
Bye.